Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're at. This is Chris Kennel from the Raw Advantage, coming to you live and correct from Sweden, getting into another amazing interview from the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle Extravaganza. Today I'm really excited to bring on Julia Gruenzinger as we go into yoga and how to incorporate it into your everyday life. She has an amazing course in the raw food bundle, and it goes all into this subject. I got my meal plan. There's 36 total books and courses in there going into various aspects of the raw food lifestyle, holism, emotional eating, yoga, so much more, relationships, and it's all together at 98% off for a short period of time, only until 11th. We're halfway through there, actually a little more than halfway through, I guess, technically speaking. And you can get it in either of our links in bio. We're going to see if she's in here and invite her on. She'll be coming very soon. If you guys don't know, yoga has been a really big part of my life. It's actually what got me into wellness and actually kind of perked my mind into nutrition and into understanding the role that karma has with food, and how important food is in terms of our overall wellness and well-being. So I'm really excited to go into this with Julia about her story and how to get yoga into your everyday life. So without further ado, hey Julia, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good.
Stoked to have you on here. So if just in case if people didn't see the last hour where we were on your page, I'm definitely going to encourage everyone to go check that out afterwards. There's a really fun talk that we had
Absolutely.
all about making a relationship with your food and some of my story and all that fun stuff. But right now, just in case somebody hasn't seen that or they haven't met you before, I'd love if you could give us a little bit of an introduction into where you came from, how you got into yoga and into raw food, and what leads you to being here and part of the bundle.
Yeah, I would love to share that. So when I was a child at elementary school, I actually was into gymnastics and learned handstands, headstands, splits, and bridge pose, and all these things. So it was kind of always my part of my life to stretch my body and move my body. And then when I was a teenager, I got into track and field. I was a track and field athlete, and I
Nice.
participated in running competitions, long distance running and sprinting. And I was always looking for ways to improve my performance. So that's also obviously how I got into this whole dietary world.
Yeah.
But I also started going to the weightlifting room at a small town where I was living in. And in the beginning, it was fun, but at some point, I was pushing myself so hard and I was constantly overdoing it, lifting like way more weight than like a 14-year-old girl should be lifting. And it got to the point where it really was dangerous. I remember putting so much weight on the leg press that I was like putting my health like really at serious danger. And eventually, I destroyed my back. So I had
Oh no.
serious back pain and back problems. And I remember sitting at school like this and not being able to hold a straight spine. It was kind of not very nice. And also mentally, I was not really at a good place. I was in a lot of resistance towards myself and to everyone around me. And because I was so focused on, improving my performance and everything, I forgot all my friends. So I was lonely, and yeah, and I couldn't focus at school, and all these things, kind of really started to get to me. And even though I wasn't really actively looking for a solution to, do something about it, I had this like vision of myself where I feel amazing and I have energy and I can focus for long periods of time and my back is healthy again. And then the intuitive feeling kept coming up that I want to do yoga and I want to get into that. But at the small town where I was living in, there was no yoga studios, so I kind of like procrastinated it. But this feeling kept coming up
Yep.
and knocking at my door, Julia, do yoga. So at some point, there was this one-time yoga event at the town where I grew up in, and I signed up for that. And I remember I loved it so, so much. And I ran home after the class, wrote down all the yoga poses and exercises we did. And then from that day on, I started waking up early every morning before school, practicing. And it wasn't even that I had to motivate myself to do it. It was just kind of coming through me to do that. And as I did that, my back started healing, and I was like,
Nice.
how is this possible? Like, I'm not going to the doctor, I'm not doing any physio practice or something. I'm just doing yoga, and my back was like, it feels more amazing than ever right now, and I like have this vitality and this energy back. And also obviously emotionally shifts started happening inside of me. I felt these intense experiences of inner joy and just
Mm.
total bliss. And then it got to the point where I wanted to share this because my life had improved so much, like the
Yeah.
relationships to the people around me, and my inner state. I could focus for long periods of time. Obviously, it also had a lot to do with me, switching to raw vegan diet. But I think that yoga was definitely at least 50% from of all the benefits I got. So I decided I want to share this with people. So
Yeah.
I decided to go to India and do my training and learn how to become a yoga teacher.
So
And then
awesome.
from that day on, things just started going up and up, and my inner state improved, a lot. And I started sharing it with others, which I just love it so much to
Yeah.
like share this experience of, I mean, you probably know that you said you're a yoga teacher as well.
Yeah.
So this feeling of just sharing, an amazing experience through teaching a yoga class, it's just the most wonderful thing ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
That's so awesome. So what style of yoga was that first yoga class that you took?
It was vinyasa, and
Yeah.
honestly, if someone asks me, I always tell them vinyasa is the way to go if you want to start out. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, I also had a lot of clients in the beginning who had severe knee problems and hip problems and ankle problems and all that kind of stuff. Then I wouldn't maybe recommend it that much. I would more go into something restorative or yin yoga. But if you're fit and healthy, then definitely vinyasa, because it's exciting, it's
Yeah.
flowy, and it's just fun to do. So yeah.
Absolutely. It makes it, I think, a lot more straightforward and easy to match your breath with your movements or let your breath move your movements. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Is that the basis of what you like to teach as well, or what do you like to teach mostly?
Mm, I don't like to put myself in boxes, so that's why I personally just teach whatever comes through me.
Yeah.
And I also never prepare my class. I always just step into the room, I see who is there, and then
Yeah.
I teach on that. Because if I prepare something, if I do Ashtanga yoga, but there's a lot of elder, overweight people who have knee problems,
Yeah.
then it might not be the best thing to do. So I
Yeah.
usually just, see who is there. And for some reason, especially in the beginning, I attracted a lot of people who had like severe knee problems and who were overweight and who wanted me to help them heal their problems.
Yeah.
So that's why in the beginning I wasn't actually teaching what I love the most. Ashtanga and vinyasa is definitely what I enjoy teaching the most, but
Mhm.
it's not what I was doing. I was then obviously trying to find things that they enjoyed, because that's the most important thing when you start out with yoga, to find poses and exercises that you enjoy. And if you don't enjoy vinyasa, then obviously don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Sounds like a intuitive class and kind of like we are talking about in the last one, following true enjoyment, like what actually really feels good and lights you up in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. So if someone was first getting started into yoga or they kind of felt that similar calling that you mentioned, what would you say is a good first step?
That's a great question. Yeah, I guess similar to what I've done in the beginning, I wouldn't recommend starting out with YouTube videos. I feel it's important to have a teacher who can check if you're doing the poses correctly. And if you don't have a nice yoga studio in your town where you're living, then there's so much online yoga, and just try and find a teacher who's actually, when he's or she's on Zoom, correcting the students. I feel that's very important. Or there's also private one-on-one. I mean, I of course teach private 101.
Yeah.
But
Do you
yeah, I mean,
find on your
there's
Instagram, can they connect with you on that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just write me a DM if people want a private one-on-one, and then we can arrange a date. And yeah, but obviously, like having a teacher who is correcting your poses is important, because even if you're already into all of it, I mean, I've been into weightlifting and everything, and I have, educated myself. Of course, I was still doing mistakes, but I've educated myself on how proper alignment works. But that isn't enough. I feel like you kind of need someone who can really check if you're doing everything correct. And even in the yoga teacher training, after I'd already done yoga for so long, I still learned so much about alignment and how to do things properly. So yeah, I feel like that's the first step to go to yoga. So you don't have to take like a class every week. Just take a couple, even just one, as I did, and then then you can find the poses in the class that you like the most, and then just make a set sequence that you can do every morning. I really like starting out with a set sequence, because then I know, my brain knows exactly, okay, I'm going to get up and I do that sequence. I don't just like do anything. And then after that set sequence, if you still have anything you want to do, even if you just want to lay on the ground in shavasana for half an hour, then just do that. And that's actually also really important part to spend some time in shavasana, because that is the most healing pose that you can do, and you cannot do anything wrong. And what happens if we lie on the floor without doing anything is that our spine realigns into its natural state by just being on the ground. So even if you're not doing any yoga at all, just lying on the ground is already super amazing. You don't even have to meditate. So yeah, just for your spine, it's already great.
That's awesome. That's all. We have one of nature's yogis in the house here. Snooter's just running all over the place. So I apologize if she was stepping on the keyboard and now she's rubbing against the camera stand. So
Yeah, I
apologize.
remember seeing your story once where he used your leg as a backbend prop. That was
Yeah,
so
yeah,
funny.
she really does. She lays in very funny ways, but I tell you, they are one of my biggest yoga inspirations. These cats. So speaking of that, what is your favorite way to bring yoga into your everyday life? I mean, as a teacher, it could be, of course, teaching, but what is a good tip that you'd say is a good way to get yoga into your everyday life outside of necessarily teaching or going to a class?
That's a great way. Pretty much what I already shared. I mean, if you don't want to go to a class or do a YouTube yoga video, then just lie on the floor and do nothing. And you can place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly or on your womb, and then just lie there and experience life, experience what is happening inside of you. And that all, if you just do that for 10 minutes every day, or not even 10 minutes, just 2 minutes every day, you get in touch with yourself and you surrender to some point, and your spine realigns into its natural state, because the floor is hard, and then our spine kind of realigns and gets a break from sitting or standing. So that of course is a great way, but obviously, I mean, it can be boring for some people. So yeah, just go on YouTube, and there is so much amazing yoga material on YouTube. I really like Boho Beautiful, Travis Elliott, I think he's called. Who else? Yoga with Adrienne if you're a total beginner, but if you're already into yoga, I wouldn't recommend it because it's kind of boring sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, just go on YouTube in the morning. I like to do it right away in the morning, and because then I don't really get distracted. If I don't do it, then there's this or this happening. And I also like to do it in the afternoon whenever I feel like now I can move my body a little bit. I have my mat rolled out all the time, and then I just go on there and do a couple of poses. And something that can also be really nice is to just have a set sequence that you do every day, and then even if you just have 5 minutes, do that set sequence, and then you can of course stop after. But what I find usually when I start with that, I continue whatever I want to do. So that is something I really recommend doing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really like that too, how you mentioned, having your mat out, like, because if your mat's rolled up in the corner, that's an extra step, and we don't always need extra steps. If you have that first step set out for you, it's the same kind of thing as like having, oh my God, this kitty, of having like, a bottle of water beside your bed. It's like you wake up and you already have that there. You look over, your yoga mat's there. You just roll out of bed onto your mat and start in Shavasana or whatever you want, you know, dive into a pigeon if you're really daring, you know, and just start moving and breathing. And that's so beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And also one thing you could also, when you go to bed, already lie out your clothes that you want to wear for the yoga in the morning. And I mean, that's like a super motivational tip. I mean, you don't have to do it. Obviously, you can just go with the flow. But I find that in the morning, I don't want to think about anything. I just want to get there. And if I don't have to find first clothes, because what's also important about yoga, you have to kind of have the right clothes. I feel you can't do yoga in just any clothes. I mean,
Jeans.
it's so unobvious, but kind of super important, because then if
Yeah.
your shirt is like hanging around your head or something in downward dog,
Yeah.
it's
It
like super important to have the right clothes. So yeah.
absolutely the right clothes or minimal clothes, you know, if you're in your own kind of place in your own spot, you know.
I
Well,
sometimes just do it naked when I'm in
yeah,
my room.
that's not a
I
class you
mean,
put on though, right? That's just for you.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
not if I'm going to a class, obviously.
No, that's a totally
Um,
different type of class, I think.
Yeah, but just, I mean, that's actually a really great way of cultivating self-love, to just do it naked, because you get so much more in contact with your body if you don't have any clothes on. And I mean, I've been to events where people just go around. I mean, I've been to a couple of rainbow gatherings. I
Hmm.
don't know if you've heard about that, but
Hmm.
there people just naturally walk around naked.
Yeah.
And I find it is so healing to just not have clothes. And I mean, it's summer, you don't
Yeah.
need the clothes. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's a really great way. But getting back to yoga, yeah, it can be really nice, because then you don't have anything, any obstructions, anything in the way. And
Mhm.
kind of, yeah, so I sometimes do that.
Yeah, the like you said, like having a big baggy shirt that goes over your face when you're doing
Yeah,
downward dog is one of the most uncomfortable things ever, you know. And
absolutely.
speaking of natural yogis, I got the kitty here right now, and she's always in her birthday suit. You know, she knows what's going on there. But you know, something that I really like to do as well is I like to do yoga in bed. So like when I first wake up, I just roll around and do some gentle twists, and sometimes do like
Mm.
frog pose, or you know, like a really gentle kind of back bend in bed. Um, nice simple way to start the day. And I'm so inspired by animals. You know, I'm so inspired by Kitty here. You know, like saying she's a natural yogi. She seldom goes through an entire sun salutation, but she does a couple parts of it every time she gets up or gets down. You know, cats and dogs, they just every time they get up or get down, they just do a couple minutes of a couple seconds even sometimes of stretching, right? Just moving in every way and extending. And I love that, and try and do that myself often, but sometimes I forget.
And that's okay too, but it's such an amazing thing to just get off your chair and do a
Yeah,
couple of stretches.
yeah,
I
no,
mean, and I
absolutely.
also love the thing with in the bed. I
Yeah.
mean, do you sleep on a mattress, or do you sleep on something hard?
We have a soft mattress here, which I prefer. I prefer a little bit of a harder mattress myself, but yeah, that's what we have here. Yeah, that's what we have here. I went through a whole bunch of different things because just like you, I had back issues. I fractured my back about
Mm.
11 years ago, and from that, I've slept on just straight on the floor. You know, I've slept on just like a very thin roll. I've had really hard mattresses. I've had soft mattresses. I've probably spent about like 3 years in a hammock tent, like total, just traveling and living in a hammock tent.
Wow,
And
that's
so
so cool.
they're so fun. They're so fun. That thing is a was a blessing. But I feel my best. It's kind of funny. I think I've got to a place now where it doesn't matter too much as long as I don't have to crumple up in a weird position. But I do prefer like a semi-firm mattress myself. What do you find is the best for yourself and your back?
Well, I since 3 years sleep on the floor, and
Yeah,
I actually also teach about that in the yoga course, because
yeah,
I just wanted to get it out there. It is also a big part of why I was able to heal my back pain and my back issues. Obviously, I think a big part was the yoga. If I
yeah,
didn't sleep on the floor, I would have still healed it, but never at all as fast as I did by sleeping on the floor. And I still do it because I sleep so deep and so good since I transitioned to doing that, and I just have a couple of blankets stacked together
yeah,
and sleep on that, because I don't really I move around from places to places a lot, so having like a mattress or a futon even would be kind of inconvenient. So I really love my blankets, but I'm also doing it because I feel amazing. And yeah, so, and again, it's the same principle as with Shavasana. You know, when you sleep on the floor, your spine realigns into its natural state. And when we sleep on mattresses, we often get in, you know, crampy, weird positions. So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of a samurai way, kind of Japanese bedroll, just really thin and hard, and
Exactly.
feels so damn good. I've done the same a lot. I'm kind of lucky in the sense that no matter where I sleep, I just sleep just like a mummy on my back, and I never move. You know, like it's but
Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
awesome. So what's next for you? So it sounds like you travel around a lot. Are you kind of a
Yeah.
nomadic lifestyle right now? Where are you actually right now?
I'm actually right now in my hometown where I grew up in Nuremberg, in Germany.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm going to stay here for that much longer. I feel like it's time for new adventures and whatever that looks like. I currently do still like stay in Germany a lot because, you know, of everything that's going on. I'm kind of feeling comfortable here right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, next for me is I'm currently, you know, transitioning a lot to bringing my yoga business online.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of in real life and everything, but currently I feel like, yeah, because I want to travel again, I'm trying to shift everything from real life to online. So I'm planning to launch a program as well, like a health transformation program where people can join with weekly yoga class. And I also want to help them heal all around, not just through yoga, but I also made the decision I want to help them with diet as well.
Awesome.
So, you know, helping them to transition to whatever they want to, obviously vegan, high carb vegan or raw vegan.
Yeah.
And because I've taught a lot of yoga and I felt like I was always kind of a quick fix as a yoga teacher because you're not really able to help people to make that long lasting change, which I just have such a deep, you know, sense of I want to help people to transform their entire health, their lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I'm going to run this program and I'll see how that goes. And otherwise just, you know, teaching online yoga and also looking to get more into corporate yoga because I feel like that can be a nice, you know, additional way as well to, you know, spread the message of health and yoga.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
110%. Yeah, that's can be more consistent too when you get into that because you get recommended to other companies and stuff like that, which can be pretty awesome. So do you want to share a little bit about your contribution to the bundle as well?
Absolutely, I would love to. So it's a yoga course and it's not only about yoga because as I already mentioned, I don't feel like helping people just with yoga. I want to help them heal all around. So we're only going to do yoga every second day. And then the other day I teach about emotional health, mental health, physical health, you know, eating a raw vegan diet, obviously. But I also, in the beginning of the course, share a lot about emotional and mental healing, how people can free themselves from, you know, emotional blockages, how they can let go of emotions, because I feel like that's really the foundation of that's I cover so much about emotional healing before I even get into diet because I feel like that's the foundation of actually being able to sustainably eat raw vegan or do yoga every day. And so yeah, I teach about emotional healing, how people can, you know, deal, because when we eat raw foods we don't have the ability to suppress our feelings and have that, you know, numbing feeling in our stomach which makes us feel everything a little bit less intense. So it's so important. I feel like it's totally underrated or not talked about enough that we learn to let go of our emotions. And I mean, it's so easy, just accepting the feeling and moving through it instead of, you know, fighting against it. And so yeah, that's something I'm really passionate about and sharing. So that's what people get in the course, and it's an email you know, thing. I have thought a lot about how I want to set up the course, and I thought it would be cool if they have like an email every day with the daily class so they get the motivation, because I've bought a lot of online courses and often what I end up doing, I watch a couple of videos and then I forget about it and never do it again. So they can sign up with their email and then they receive an email every day with the daily class. And yeah, so I'm super excited about that. And so many people have already signed up and gone through a couple of classes. So yeah.
That's super awesome. That's super awesome. And how long approximately is each class?
Around half an hour, I think,
Perfect.
every yoga class. And then the classes about emotional health and physical health and mental health and spiritual health are, most of them are like 5 to 10 minutes, so they are a bit shorter. But yeah, so, and I mean, if people want to do yoga every day, they could theoretically do the yoga class from the last day on that the day in between as well. I'll just go on YouTube and do whatever. But yeah, it's kind of a motivation for people to get into yoga regularly, even if you've already done yoga for years. I feel like sometimes it's challenging to do yoga every day because you have so many things going on. So that's also something I wanted to create with this course, some kind of motivation for people to keep going and experience what it feels like to actually be consistent with something. So yeah.
Yeah, it's such an important habit to cultivate, and I think it's kind of fun, like, just like raw food, like you could be really versed in raw food, but learning from other people, you get like different takes on it. You get little different tastes and tweaks. And the same thing with yoga. Like, it doesn't matter how many classes you've taken or if you've never taken one, having a variety of people to learn from just gives you so much more to work with and gets you outside of your box, kind of as you mentioned before too, like I want to check it out. I'll straight up admit I haven't gotten a chance to dive into it myself yet. It's been so
I
busy,
understand.
but I really would like to, because that sounds like a lot of fun. Because we can get into our own ruts, right, and just do the same thing over and over, and it's so refreshing and I think vital to introduce new stuff into your routines.
That is so beautiful what you just said, and it just, yeah, made me realize I've gotten so inspired just in this bundle week by all the other contributors. And I mean, I've gone through a couple of things. I've gone through Christiane Cook's sushi course, and
So good.
opened a whole new door. I mean, I've been on raw foods for so long now, but it opened a whole new door of, you know, experience for me.
Yeah.
Like, this is a word I've never been into, but it's kind of, and it's really beautiful. The sushi course, everyone who's watching, if you got a bundle, you gotta check out the sushi course. It's so great.
Absolutely.
I mean, I already told my friends there was so much about this course, how great it is and everything.
Oh,
And yeah, so it's very cool what you say. And I totally understand with that you haven't gotten to it. And I again just want to have a moment of appreciation and gratitude for what you do. I can imagine it must be so much work to put this together, but you can't even imagine, I think, what it does for me and what it does for so many people. I think this bundle week is just, it's great. It's like an online fruit festival.
it is, right? Yeah, no, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say it wasn't a lot of work, but it's like that's what I'm called to do, is, spread the things that light me up and that help me out. And, both Lissa and I have been so blessed to be really clear in bringing our message to the world and received so much from that we want to light fires under all the other creators or would-be creators to start creating and start sharing, because that's how we ripple this out, and I think it really comes from sharing abundantly from the things you're blessed with and your inner gifts. And it not only helps everyone else out, but it also wakes them up to rise to their potential and to share the things that light them up. And that's how we brighten this world up, right? We just share our own light and allow others to feel that they feel safe to do the same. So it's a super honor and blessing, and so stoked that you're in here and bringing this the yoga to the bundle as well, because it's about so much more. Like, I mean, yoga is about everything, and raw food opens one up to everything, but without a path and without having some kind of a framework, some way to move your body and express yourself and become more connected, to me, that's a huge, huge link and so important.
Wow. So beautiful what you say, that if we lighten up and that you want to help everyone lighten up and share their, and because I mean, I had a long time where I wanted to share more about raw food, but I thought there's already so many raw fooders out there who are sharing it. But again, then I was thinking, like, I mean, this message is so important. The
Yeah,
more people we have that are sharing it, the better. So now I
absolutely.
also really want to start sharing more about it on my Instagram, and also planning to start on YouTube to, it doesn't matter how many there's already out there. There's like a raw food educator for everyone. And yeah, so, and I mean, I've received a lot of help from real life person, friend of mine, Casper, who inspired me to initially, start with this raw vegan diet. And so for me, it was kind of never that clear that we need actually to help other people as well to, transition to this, because not everybody might meet someone in real life who is able to help them, and inspire them. So then I decided I want to be that person now to, share my gifts and share with people the knowledge I have, because it's valuable knowledge, and people are so desperate to learn about optimal nutrition and diet. I mean, I've been desperate for years. I have been trying different diets, and I've also been on a low carb diet for 1.5 years because I was so lost, and I was trying to find and be able to, kind of sustain a healthy weight. And with junk food, it's just not possible.
So hard.
So I was on that low carb diet, and I felt like crap. I felt like literal crap. And I think that's why it was so obvious to me then when I found out about high carb, that this would actually work, after I felt like crap for so long and having deprived myself from fruit and carbs. Like the word 80-10-10 just sounded like angel voices in my head, and I was like, yes, I want to try this. So yeah,
it's so awesome. A friend of mine, MC Matre, he has a song, and one of the lyrics is, feeling this good was not meant to be done alone, and it's just like, it's so true. When you find something that just resonates on every level and makes you feel better than you've ever felt, you can't help but want to share it. And someone made a comment here, Safir, raw food is symbiotic with regenerative agroforestry. True, too. It's about more than humans, and absolutely, it's
what?
like it's about about regenerative agroforestry too, and it's more than just humans. So that's just like regenerative fruit foresting and regenerative agriculture, but forestry. And it's so true, because like, when I first got into this, for example, I got into raw food because of health. Like I wanted to heal better and be a better athlete. But it doesn't matter what angle you look at it. When you're looking at like the animals, and then you're looking at the ecology, and you're looking at your carbon footprint, and you're looking at your spiritual connection, and you're looking at like reversing your linear history, or your ancestral history, and like healing things deeply on like so many levels. I think it's the most powerful decision you can make. It's truly a vortex of positive change in anyone's life that reverberates out into every facet of living. And it's just like, I think that's why people are so drawn to share it, when they get into it. Most people I know who become raw foodists, especially once they start to find their balance in it, and they start to just get consistent with it, they feel a need to share it. And whether that's on like a one-on-one level, or like really outspoken, it's just too darn good not to share.
Wow, that's so beautiful what you're saying, and I couldn't agree more. Since I'm on this lifestyle, I've become so connected to nature. Every time I go out into the forest, I feel the trees, the birds, everything around me so intensely, and I have not been able to perceive all that when I have still been eating, junk food and animal products. So since that I also just have the natural need to take care of the environment and to, do my best that I can do to, support Mother Earth and whatever. Of course, our, abilities are limited, but this desire is there, and I'm doing my best, and I feel that it will, it's just a seed that is currently sprouting. It will sprout at some point, and I could very well imagine to, get into some kind of permaculture project or something, or have my own fruit forest at some point. I mean, that's just high goals I'm setting there, but it would be so cool to kind of do that. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I have similar goals too. It's so beautiful to be able to provide habitat for animals, and create topsoil and nourish yourself all at the same time. And that's what fruit forestry does. It's a beautiful thing. A lot of people don't recognize too that fruits and vegetables are the lowest carbon footprint plants on the planet. You can feed, I believe from what I saw, it's like almost 98 times the people on a fruit-based raw food diet compared to an omnivorous diet. And it's often said, what is often shown is you can feed 48 times on a plant-based diet. But that's how big of a difference it is between general plant-based with some processed foods and stuff like that compared to a fruit-based diet, because the fruit trees are three-dimensional. They're not just ground crops. They're like some crops like jackfruit give thousands of pounds per season, you know. It's like, and they don't rely on topsoil, they create topsoil, right? It's just, it's
Oh.
such an amazing thing, you know. It's digging deep into the earth and bringing all those nutrients up to create more topsoil and more habitat. Yeah, it's a whole other subject, but it's just such a
But
beautiful thing.
beautiful topic, yeah. And one more thing I want to add to that actually is that I also feel that the animals are also part of nature. So I think that's where we can start. Of course, we can't plant 1,000 trees every day. I
Mm.
mean, we can, but it's kind of like
It's
not
tough.
in my range, at least
I,
at the moment.
I was a
We,
tree planter for a season, and it's
oh,
tough to do it.
really?
Like, I mean, 1,000 trees a day is a lot. I've done more than that in one day, but to do that every day, that'd be a lot.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, I was just to over exaggerate a little bit, but yeah, and but we can take care of the animals and
Yeah,
send them our love, and obviously we're not supporting the animal industry,
yeah,
but also just when you see animals to connect with them and
yeah.
and be with them, because I feel a lot of animals are really suffering, like many dogs and cats living in families that are kind of using them, and I find it so beautiful when you share in your stories, because I
Mhm.
feel like you have this deep connection to your cats and you really see them as mutual beings, and
Oh,
I find it so so wonderful.
I love them like more than I can express. You know, like, I don't know. I love all animals, and I definitely found that when I got into this lifestyle, that connection to animals, to people, to children, to nature, to all life. You know, like really genuinely seeing all life as sacred. You know, and like all life as, you know, the same worth. You know, it's like, it's just, I don't know. It's just all beautiful, and animals are just so pure. You know, like they are masters of presence. You know, like they're just total presence. You know, and it's like they give so much. Yeah, I think cats and all animals really, they are heart openers and guides for us if we take the time to sit and be with them.
Absolutely, yeah. I couldn't agree more. So, to get back to yoga, do you have a spiritual kind of drifted off there? Do you have a spiritual practice as well? And do you practice yoga every day too? Or how did you get into yoga?
Well, yeah, how I got into yoga was, I was falling apart and I found a Rodney Yee yoga VHS tape in Walmart, and
Oh
I
yeah,
just
we
started
talked
doing it
about
every day. So yeah, like that was my intro into yoga. Um, you know, truthfully, I try my best to live my life with a yogic kind of attitude, you know, like whether I'm in a communication with someone or whether I'm skateboarding, just coming into presence, you know, to yoke with the moment, you know, is what I kind of glean from yoga, is striving for presence and awareness in anything I'm doing. And it doesn't mean I always accomplish it, but I just try and make yoga a walking, or sorry, my life a living meditation to the greatest of my ability. And with that, with like yoga, like the physical forms and the asanas and stuff like that, if I feel something in my body, if I just feel something like needs to move, then I get into it. My most common style is Kundalini. You know, if I'm
it.
actually sitting and doing something, because I actually do sit, and I work from the ground up, from the root chakra to the crown, and I go through my sequences. But otherwise, I'm so inspired by cats. Like I mentioned, it's just like whenever I move, like when I get up from here, I'll be doing a couple movements, and it might just be like three or four, but it might be like, you know, might be a sun salutation, but most of the time it's just a
Mhm.
couple different movements, you know. And it's funny because I usually don't actually do like a half an hour or an hour unless I'm teaching a class or attending a class. But otherwise, I might just do like 15 minutes while I'm starting to watch a show or before dinner, or just when I feel like I need to move in my body.
That's so beautiful. And I feel like that's actually a really great way to look at it, because if we focus on, oh my God, I have to do 1.5 vinyasa class every day,
Mm.
like, of course you're not going to do it. So focusing on longevity is really great way to get consistent, instead of trying to be perfect and do everything you can every day. Just do the little things that you feel like doing. And if you're just feeling like 2 minutes yoga, two sunset salutations or three,
Yeah.
then do that. I feel like, yeah, it's really great to not focus so much on being perfect and doing everything all the time. So yeah.
Every single breath, every single movement adds up, right? Every single time that you decide to come into presence and to feel what you feel and accept it, it all adds up. And, even if we're talking about raw food, it's like every single bite, it adds up, right? And it's just about having more of those moments where you're making a choice for your high self and it really nurtures and nourishes you, whether that's with your breath, whether that's with your movement, whether that's with the food. I think all those things just set you up to feel higher and higher with a natural kind of vibe.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And you said you were also into skateboarding, or you are into skateboarding, and I've
Yeah.
also seen a couple of videos. Actually, it's really great what you do. And have you experienced like a transformation of your skateboard skills when you started getting into yoga?
What I noticed the most was my self-identity that I had with it, like starting to try and separate myself from my idea, my ego kind of self with it, and I've kind of gone back and forth with that a few times, but I guess it just made me a little bit more aware of that. And then also it made me more aware of my aches and honoring them and finding different ways to move my body and to respect my body more and heal more fully. And then also I've tried to really make it a meditation, which is really interesting. Like just being even more aware, like while I'm going, am I holding my breath? Like, what am I doing? Where am I right now? Like, am I like in a flow state, or am I like thinking in fear, and holding my breath because I'm in fear? And it's been an interesting process doing that, but it is amazing because when you're doing something like skateboarding or doing something like yoga, if you're in your head and thinking about things, is never as fluent. It's never as fluid. Rather, it never feels the same. And so I guess it's kind of funny. It's paradoxical to say striving to let go, but releasing into it, I think, is what I strive to do. But again, when you strive, you're trying, so it's kind of a paradox, right? But a process of letting go is how I've seen it change.
Mm, that's wonderful. And have you experienced any, like, how your physical performance has changed? I mean, obviously the mental part, it's just so incredible what you just shared, and I feel it can be applied to every single thing. Like, what I just thought when you said that was that in our first life I was kind of really in my head and not stepping into that flow, and not being so much into it. So obviously it was not as fluent and flowy as if I had just surrendered to that. And that was just what I was thinking, that it can actually be applied to every single area, even like the raw vegan diet. If you're like rigid and in your head and you're not breathing and you're not feeling and you're not in the flow, then it will never be as amazing as if you just surrender to the flow. So but has your like physical performance improved as well when you started with the yoga?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think it just kind of freed my body up a little bit. And it's interesting because I think when I was younger, my body was free. I think it's like, when we're born and when we're young, like we're so elastic and we're so much less encumbered by thoughts. Like we are more. At least I remember being just in the moment so much more. And then as life gets kind of tangled and we start to fear things and have a couple what are seen as failures, we start to second guess ourselves. Maybe I can't do everything that I thought, and maybe life is different, and that can tangle you up. And that's how I kind of found myself in that space of being really mentally, emotionally, spiritually squished and like not really accepting life anymore. So wanting to numb, and getting into yoga kind of allowed me to let go of that more and just be present with my breath and just slow down, and with that, it nourishes all the joints and, all the muscles and the mind, and just makes things a lot more fluid. So I think that started to unravel me and get me a little bit closer to how I was when I was little. And it's been a constant up and down progression, because I mean, I've been skateboarding for 36 years, and
Wow.
37 now, actually. And I've injured myself a lot, like I've had reconstructive surgery on my knee, and that was actually from the car accident, because I was in a near fatal car accident and fractured my back and broken many bones. And so anyways, all that to say, just um, uh, there's always room for growth and improvement, and there's always things that I feel like I'm better now than I've ever been, and there's always some things too that I'm like, if I could learn everything that I've already done in the past, it'd be like crazy. But anyways, yeah, it's a constant growth and a constant challenge, you know. I guess that's really it. It's just a constant fun challenge and pushing up against limits physically and mentally.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
It's fun. I love it. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do because it's like endless creativity, and endless challenge, you know. And it's like those things, just like, you know, when you're expressing yoga and stuff, it's like those things that we have a hard time getting away from, like those activities that like just we get completely lost in the moment and we're just enjoying ourselves so much. We get in like the zone, you know. It's like those are it, you know, like those things that just bring us into presence and you know, allow us to move our body in ways that feel good and, you know, can be challenging and cause growth. Those are the things I think to embrace, you know, because otherwise if we're just thinking like activity, like I should do this, like you're not going to stick with it. But when you find those activities and those movements that become a passion, and you know, you don't want to stop doing, it's like your life's going to forever change.
Yeah, wow, that's so wonderful. And I guess it's again the same principle as we talked, or not a principle, but the same thing we've talked about in the previous life. Eat the fruits you love
Yeah,
and do the things you love. I mean, why would you do yoga every day if you do not feel like it?
yeah,
Obviously, then find something else you love. Go
yeah,
running or go skateboarding or whatever you love doing,
yeah,
and then do that, because if you do not enjoy it, then what's the point in doing it? And I feel it's a wonderful thing of cultivating the things that bring us into this flow state, into this state of no mind, because
yeah.
we actually experience what it feels like to, you know, be enlightened in a way. I mean, there's people feeling like this all the time, and you
Oh
kind
yeah,
of get a glimpse of how it feels. And obviously the more you do it, the more you will also experience it throughout the rest of your day. So it's, yeah, wonderful
absolutely.
thing.
It's just a constant choice. That's it, right? It's like it doesn't matter if it's the yoga, it doesn't matter if it's the food, it doesn't matter if it's the meditation. You know, it's just all right. I have choice. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Right? And it's like that central theme is the same for everything. Just like you said, it's applied to everything. It's like if you choose to breathe love into anything you're doing, you know, and you're golden. You know, like it's hard to contest with that.
Really nice. Do you have any spiritual experiences from doing Kundalini yoga?
Just really like none of the like you know, what's it called, no like major chakra awakenings or anything like that that would, I would say, fit the classic kind of Kundalini awakening process. I definitely have had Satori moments where I just felt like completely at one with everything and just like feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude, which I guess could be like a heart awakening. Um, and I guess some where I've just felt like really connected to intuition, you know, and stuff like that. But I guess my concept of what a Kundalini awakening is like a very intense kind of fiery sensation rising from the root. And I've never had that specific, but I've definitely had different chakra openings you could describe, I guess. And mostly those Satori moments and heart opening moments and just feeling so much gratitude and so much connection to self and to everything around me, like no separation, you know. And
Mhm.
it's
Wonderful.
how about yourself?
That's
Have you ever had any strong openings and you know, moments that have just completely shifted your perspective and perception of life with yoga?
Mhm. I also practice a lot of bhakti yoga, so I'm chanting a lot, and
Yeah.
I cannot remember having any experience while doing yoga, but I had this one experience where I was at the Hare Krishna temple and we were chanting the Maha
Nice.
Mantra,
Yeah.
and we were 5 minutes into the mantra or something, and I couldn't stop crying. I felt
Mm,
so much joy. I
mm,
felt so much bliss, and I felt like life is just so amazing. And in that moment, I thought, okay, I'm in life now. I'm gonna feel like this for the rest of my life. And obviously, after like half an hour or something, the feeling like slowly went down, but the rest of the week was like still in this constant flow. Like it was such a wonderful experience, and but I'm not like seeking those experiences out. So I feel like sometimes they come, and usually for me they come just in everyday life or in interaction with people. I like in interaction with people. I have it most of the time, this feeling of feeling one with everything. And especially I've shared that I've been to a couple of rainbows and rainbow festivals. So everyone who doesn't know, it's just a little bit like a fruit festival, like a gathering of people who want to connect with like-minded people. And the people there are so open to to above and everything. So when you get there, when you get in contact with these people, it's just such a wonderful experience. I can't put it into words. So yeah.
Synchronicity, right? It's like when you bring into your life things that are vibing at such a high level, and when you come into the presence of others that are vibing at that same level and interested in the same things, it's like so many synchronicities open up, and just so many shared experiences like just get you buzzing so high.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Jeanette is saying, Misfit Vegan is saying, love you both. Thank you for everything you both do. So much love back to you, Jeanette, too. And
Yeah,
some of your books are incredible in the bundle. Thank you so much. Absolutely, you as well. Oh, wow. It's been so awesome chatting with you. I can't believe it's been actually 2 hours now that we've been chatting for the last 2 hours. It's crazy when you're talking about subjects that light
it
you up,
goes
and
by quickly.
it does go by quickly. It does go by quickly. But I'd love to ask, is there anything that you'd like to dive into a little bit more, or anything you'd like to leave everyone with in terms of yoga and, learning to bring more into your life and, bringing more love into your life?
That's a good question. I guess just accepting yourself for who you are, and especially now that we're enrolling when it comes to diet, to not always be so hard on yourself and beat yourself up. And if you're beating yourself up, then accept that. And that's just such a powerful, deep, way which will transform you. If you start, loving yourself and not beating yourself up for the things you do, but actually just see it as growth, and see it as opportunities to learn and evolve as a human being on this planet. It's exciting to grow and make mistakes and fail. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, if you are not able to have a daily yoga practice, then that's totally fine. If you just do it once a week, or if you don't do it at all, no worries at all. Do that what you love. And the same goes with diet. Find the fruits you love, and if you don't love it, then find another way that you enjoy eating, high carb vegan or whatever. If that's what you love, then do that, and don't force anything, because if you force yourself to do something, you're gonna miss out on so much fun in life.
Yeah, you're probably going to end up resenting it and going the exact opposite way more quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you so much. And it was really great to connect with you here and to get some face-to-face and get to know you a little bit better. And I really appreciate you and your energy brought to the bundle and for being a part. And I just want to encourage everyone else also to go give you a look-see on your page and grab the bundle through your page here. I'm trying to find it in the beginning. Julia Gruenzinger. I'm not pronouncing your last name properly, am I?
It's nice. It's actually really exciting because everyone pronounces it differently. And today I just thought it's beautiful because everyone has a unique, perception of my name. But yeah, you can check it out. And thank you so much, Chris, for also having me on your account. And it was such an honor for me to speak to you. So, and really great pleasure as well.
Absolutely reciprocated. And thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this conversation. And stay tuned for a whole bunch more lives from everyone. You can find the whole lives list on the top right of the homepage of the bundle page, which again, you can grab the bundle or check out the lives through either of our Instagram links here. So thanks again so much. I hope you have an awesome day. I guess you're going into the evening as well, though.
Yeah, like it's 9 p.m. Yeah, we're same time zone right
Yeah,
here.
same time.
Same street.
Awesome. Well, I hope you have an awesome night and a good sleep.
Yeah,
And
you too, Chris. You
see you
too.
guys.
Bye bye.
Goodbye. Check out the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. It's only here till April 11th. Ooh, don't forget to check out my raw recipes playlist in the top left, the video just for you in the top right, subscribe for more videos in the bottom right, and get your 3 free ebooks in the bottom left. Grab your free raw recipe app, available on iPhone and Android with over 100 free raw recipes, common fruit and vegetable calorie breakdown, frickin' raw some food combining chart, shopping cart function, and so much more.